What's up? So I wanted to go over my opinions and my thoughts on the recent sell down on basically the entire semiconductor sector, and which basically led to the sell down in the Qs, the SPY, and everything. Just a disclaimer, I don't know anything. I just want to share my thoughts, and hopefully my goal is if you get two open-minded idiots talking in a room together, then hopefully both of them are proven wrong, and then we both leave the room slightly less idiotic. That's my goal, right? So please let me know what you think. My thoughts are that recently, a big portion of the reason why NVDA sold down, which also brought down the rest of the semiconductor sector, is people are expecting that NVIDIA's basically saturated the market, so there's no more customers. Another way of saying that is they sold to all their customers and their customers no longer need the product because they've already satisfied their need. I guess just a disclaimer, I don't think I have any position in NVIDIA or honestly any semiconductor. I might be slightly exposed to it, but like very minimally. So I don't know. This is just my thoughts. So I think a big thing about the market is I think we're mistakenly comparing NVIDIA's position to Intel's position. Why is this different? I'll go over that now. So NVIDIA sells GPU chips, and then Intel sells CPU chips. Those are both their bread and butter. So people always say that Intel is a value trap. Basically, they have good fundamentals, they have a good balance sheet, but usually with the value trap, it's because of management and their inability to execute. And Intel's just been one of those companies that just basically kept losing, and basically any venture that they've tried to work on, they basically lost. So the problem about CPU chips, I don't necessarily think that it's because of management. I think the main thing is the products that they sell. Your CPU chips are used to run just like everyday random stuff, for example, like moving your mouse or like opening tabs, things like that, right? So it's not really anything that requires a lot of rendering, a lot of compute time, all those things. No matter how advanced you make your CPU chips, the need for having a ultra advanced CPU chip just kind of tapers, like it just kind of, it's asymptotic, right? So like there's no real need to have like the newest generation, the best CPU chip possible, just because of the nature of the things that you do with your CPU. And that's kind of why I see Intel as it's almost becoming a commodity play, where basically the only way to really compete with CPU chips is to just lower the prices. In my opinion, there's no real way to incentivize demand for the next generation CPU chip. It won't really increase your productivity that much. On the other hand, I feel like NVIDIA, with their GPUs, it is true that a lot of people have already bought their chips. They already bought their GPU chips. They're done, and now they're maybe training, or now they're using them, right, for rendering, for whatever. I think a lot of people are mistaken when they're saying that once they've bought their computer chips, there's no more need for people to buy more NVIDIA chips. And I just think that is slightly, it could be true to a certain extent, but I think that if GPU chips improve to a certain threshold, then it will spark more demand, just because of the cost-benefit analysis that having a much better GPU chip provides compared to previous generation GPU chips. I kind of liken it to if you look at TVs, right? If you were born in the 1980s, 1990s, back then you look at your TV and you're like, wow, this is so high def, and it'd be like 240p, 480p. You didn't realize how dog shit the quality is of your TV is, until you see the 1080p, you see the 2K, you see the 4K, you see the 8K now. You don't really notice that difference in quality until you really see it. Kind of similar to, we can liken it to Henry Ford when he says, if I asked the customer what he wanted, he would say a faster horse rather than wanting a car. You don't realize what you're missing until they produce it. And I think that that's kind of the boat that NVIDIA is in. Again, I don't have any position long or short in NVIDIA. It's just that I think that people are kind of mistaken the kind of the difference in sectors between a GPU chip and a CPU chip. One of them having increased usage and like constant demand for the newest chip, versus CPU chips, which it doesn't really matter. Like at a certain point, you don't really need like your CPU chip to be 50 times faster than your old CPU chip. It won't add that much productivity. Another analogy I can think of is a lot of people liken computer chips or NVIDIA to be a shovel play for this AI race. After you buy your first shovel, you don't need any more shovels. But what if you wanted to do this on a grand scale, right? Then maybe you'll invest in a bulldozer. Maybe you'll invest in one of those fracking machine thingies. I don't know. In my opinion, that's more analogous to what NVIDIA's position is, just because of how important it is, just because of how kind of data centric news is, how data centric just our entire environment, our entire world is. We rely on data on so many things, and there's so much data just coming in and out, like constantly, and more things to train on, more and more things to render. TVs aren't getting any lower in quality. AI isn't getting any lower in the quality. If rendering, maybe Blackwell can render 8K movie in however long, maybe next time we have 16K, or next time we have 32K. Obviously to a point, then it doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying that just because of the sheer size of the tasks that GPU does, then I feel that there will be a constant supply of demand for the foreseeable future. Again, as opposed to CPU chips, where having an increased CPU doesn't really increase your productivity that much. I do see one potential problem, which would be this antitrust. If currently, I would say that the antitrust might be slightly more of a problem or more of a barrier for NVIDIA, just because I don't really see people feeling passionate about buying only NVIDIA. I feel that NVIDIA chips, it isn't something like Coke or Pepsi where some people feel really passionate about buying only that product and nothing else. I feel that if the price is right, if the technology is right, then people will shift from NVIDIA to ARM, or from NVIDIA to AMD. Obviously, I know NVIDIA and ARM don't do the same chips, but like, you know what I mean. There's no real connection to buying only a specific company's brands. Especially since you're selling it to businesses usually and not really to individual consumers. Businesses only really care about the bottom line and productivity and cost benefit analysis. They don't really share this shared like dream, or the shared like why as to why they should buy a product. So I guess I can see that maybe being the case, where if they break up this antitrust and then NVIDIA is no longer able to pull these supposedly shady business practices of like, from what I heard or from what I understand, they're marking up their prices for if you use multiple vendors versus if you only get your supplies from NVIDIA. That is one thing that might be possible, but other than that, I don't really see NVIDIA doing too badly. But yeah, so I guess I just wanted to, I guess my thoughts are just that the semiconductor sell-off is slightly warranted just because of how much they ran in the past few months. But is it cause for like, oh no, the bubble's gonna pop and we're all gonna get screwed over? I don't think so. But those are just my thoughts, right? I'm just an idiot screaming at an empty room. I don't know. So those are my thoughts. If you have any thoughts or any opinions on what I said, I'd love to see things from a different perspective. I think that's really important. But yeah,